the morning sun stretched over the small village of Mariapfarr, casting golden light across the modest wooden homes and the fields that rolled gently toward the distant mountains. Inside the parish church, the air was cool and fragrant with the lingering scent of incense. Sunlight filtered through painted glass windows, casting colors across the stone floor, illuminating the quiet hush that had settled over the chapel. In a humble room adjacent to the church, a young couple prepared for an event both ordinary and miraculous. Anne, her hands trembling with a mixture of excitement and awe, arranged the simple linens in the cradle she had prepared. Her husband, Joachim, stood nearby, quietly gathering herbs and water, his face a mixture of worry and hope. They were old enough to know the world's harshness, but young enough to still believe in the gentle magic of life. The women of the village arrived slowly, moving with careful reverence. They whispered soft blessings, their voices carrying the rhythm of generations. They spoke of the promise of a child, of a life that might change their world. Anne felt the weight of their eyes, not with judgment, but with anticipation, as if they were all holding their breath for the same miraculous moment she awaited. Outside, the fields rustled in the morning breeze. Birds flitted among the trees, their songs blending with the soft murmur of villagers arriving to witness the birth that would ripple far beyond the small Austrian village. The sounds mingled with the quiet strength of hope, as if nature itself had conspired to celebrate this beginning. When the child arrived, her cry was gentle but insistent, a small declaration of life in a world that often demanded silence. Anne held her daughter close, feeling the warmth of her tiny body, the softness of her skin, and the astonishing certainty that this child would matter. Joachim leaned over, eyes glistening, and whispered words of devotion he had never spoken before. The women moved closer, touching the baby with reverence, sharing blessings and soft laughter. They wrapped her in the linens Anne had prepared, tucking her in with care, as if the fabric itself could shield her from the hardships of the future. The light from the windows played across the small figure, highlighting the innocence and potential within her, and for a moment, time seemed suspended. Outside the village, the mountains stood like silent guardians. They watched the day unfold, unmoving, yet full of witness to the unfolding story of life and hope. In that quiet majesty, the village's joy felt eternal, echoing the simple truth that every birth carries the weight of dreams yet to be realized. Anne and Joachim sat together, holding their daughter, feeling a love both overwhelming and grounding. They spoke little, for words felt inadequate. Around them, the village hummed with life, aware that, even in the simplest moments, the extraordinary could quietly reveal itself. The child, with eyes bright and alert, seemed already aware of the world she had entered and the promise she carried within her tiny, perfect self. As the day faded toward evening, the light softened. Shadows stretched long across the village streets and the fields beyond. The villagers returned to their homes, leaving Anne and Joachim in the stillness of their new life as parents. The church bells rang gently, marking the passage of hours, each chime a reminder that life would continue, full of beauty, challenge, and the quiet miracles that often pass unnoticed. Anne looked down at her daughter, feeling a profound gratitude for the simple, eternal gift of life. She whispered a prayer, not for fame or fortune, but for courage, wisdom, and love to guide the child through the days ahead. Joachim beside her held her hand and felt the same resolve. Together, they understood that this small beginning, this birth in the heart of Mariapfarr, was part of something far greater than themselves, a story of hope, of devotion, and of the endless capacity of life to surprise and uplift. Night fell gently, and the village grew quiet. The stars emerged one by one over the darkened fields and mountains, a silent choir of witness to the miracle that had unfolded. In the warm embrace of the small room, Anne and Joachim rested, their child sleeping peacefully between them, unaware yet fully connected to the tapestry of history and promise that had begun